Welcome to Two Humans Talking, the podcast that discusses what it actually takes to stay healthy in this modern, fast paced world. I'm Tiffany Simms, and this week I am so excited. This is going to be a special edition, never before done topic on the show where I had this crazy idea laying on the couch one night thinking about all of the people who are feeling stuck in their bodies and how being stuck is holding them back, whether it's that they feel like their body is keeping them from their next promotion, or maybe that they have developed this like plus size body positive community and they're ready and they were healing themselves through that, but now they're ready for the next level of their own journey in their health and felt stuck, almost like if I go to the next level of healthy, I'm gonna look like a hypocrite. My community isn't gonna understand. They're gonna want to pull me back and tell me I'm wrong and that I'm part of the problem now. And the reason I was thinking about that stuff is because I had experienced that myself. And so I went out into the world and I asked other women if they had been feeling the same way or had experience in that, if they wanted to come talk about it, because I think this is a really real topic that a lot of us go through silently and it's embarrassing to talk about. And so, Ileka, you, my friend, are a gem, and I'm really excited and happy that you're here to have this conversation with me. So before we jump into all of that stuff, share who you are, what lights your soul on fire, where can we find you on a Saturday, like what makes you you?
All right, awesome. Thank you, Tiffany. I'm so excited to be here. So I'm Ileka Falette. I'm a married mom of four. We have four babies, four people that came out of me, right? And they're ages 9 to 16. And
Oh
so
man.
yeah, that lights me up 100%. For work, what lights me up though is I have my own business, and what I do is I help entrepreneurs and small businesses become the guru or the in-demand business in their industry, right? And we do it through sales, like understanding sales and really leaning into sales, audience growth, and productivity improvement. Because I don't want to spend a lot of time doing stuff. I want to spend time doing things I want to do, right? I want to have that freedom and
Like, I
flexibility.
got 4 kids, I have other places I want to be.
Exactly. And other people do too. So that's why I show people how to do more in less time. I always say work less, make more, feel better, right? And so
Oh,
that's a big piece of it. I love it so much.
that's so cool.
And this topic is so awesome to me. I'm super excited to talk about this.
Cool. Before we hop into that, where could I find you on a Saturday? Like, what do
Oh,
you do for fun?
oh, on a Saturday, either I'm somewhere hanging out with my kids and my husband. Like sometimes we'll go to like the track or the park or something like that. Or I'm traveling. We love to travel.
I love that.
Either road warriors, depending on the travel, or we're on a flight somewhere. The other thing that we might be doing is just if it's raining, we're sitting inside, probably watching something on Netflix or laughing, talking a bunch of junk, and cooking some really cool foods.
I love that. I love just sharing space with everyday women who are still doing, they're like an everyday woman who's still doing
Mhm.
epic stuff and still showing up.
Right.
Do you know what I
Mm.
mean? Because I
Yeah.
think it's so easy to get sucked into the rat race and
Mhm.
not have an identity, not know who you are,
Right.
like feel like you're like the world is taking you for a ride you didn't sign up for. And so
Mhm.
like I just love how active you are and how many calendars you are in control of and how just energetic and vibrant you are sharing how you're doing, how you're living the life, right? Like I just think that's so cool.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we get to enjoy life and have fun, right? And let go of all the pressures and stresses that other people's ideals have put on us that we've decided are our ideals now, right?
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? I didn't create that. I'm not gonna live into it.
I just
So
talked about that in a Facebook group today about like that time management piece of like
mm,
when's the last time you actually sat down and wrote out what success is for you? What
right.
is success for your health? What is success for your career? What's success in your relationships? Because so
Exactly.
often we're just saying yes, just getting flopped around that hamster wheel with
Mhm.
no like cognitive intention because we
Exactly.
haven't stopped to ask what successful to me means.
Exactly. So that the things that you do can tie to your goals, right?
Mm-hmm.
And tie to what that success means.
Yes.
Otherwise, you're just saying yes to things and doing
Because
those
you're
things.
supposed to. Someone
Right.
expected you to. But
Exactly.
maybe
You're
that was a
living when you're
job for
supposed to.
another mom. Maybe another
Exactly.
mom was waiting for the opportunity to do that thing and you stole it from her and you're not even enjoying yourself. Like
Right,
that's selfish.
exactly. And it's her dream, you know,
Yeah. So
it's
there's
what she loves.
great. And so anyway, I digress.
Yeah.
Um, is there a time in your life, or even maybe now, because we didn't talk about it, where you felt like your body held you back from your goals, from a promotion, from things like that?
Oh, yes. So it's so funny. So my story is literally about 8 years ago, I lost 120 pounds. And I did it through exercise and changing my eating. Like I really just decided that I no longer wanted to live like that. And it wasn't that I was ashamed of me, because I think so many people assume that that's what it was. It wasn't ashamed. I always walked around with a ton of confidence, right? Or at least outside confidence, right? At least people thought I was confident. But it wasn't that shame. It was, I realized that I was setting the tone for my kids to live unhealthy, to eat poorly or to, not be moving, not be active and things like that. And so I wanted to set the tone where we were active family. And there was times where I couldn't run after them. So one time, actually, let me give a time before that. All right. So what happened, I worked at a Fortune 100 company, right? And I was at the senior management, higher senior management, senior director level, right? And there was an opportunity to get another promotion. Everyone knew that I had basically created this entire program. It was a leadership development program. I essentially created like the main things to allow someone to move from one space to the next. So someone to promote basically. So I created the framework, put together the foundation, and really built some awesome relationships. But when it came time to promote, I wasn't the one promoted. And I thought, well, why not me? And so I felt like a couple of things had happened that was affecting it. One was my size. I was 330 something pounds, right? So me living in that, I didn't look like, you know, the person at the next level, right? I didn't look like the person they
Yeah.
were going to see. And the
I
other
think
piece
that's
was,
important to
mhm,
think about and talk about because, like, yes, we all want to see the beauty and the kindness and the gifts
mhm,
inside of someone else. Like,
right.
and everyone is worthy, but there really is that same, and then in the same breath, there
Mhm,
really is that reality of if I can't trust you to take care of yourself,
right.
how can I trust you to take care of this next level of stuff that's going to
Exactly.
come your way? Like,
Right.
there's a distrust piece of like, can you
Mhm.
really handle it? Because you're
Yes.
not handling yourself very well.
Right. And what's so funny is usually these mostly women aren't handling themselves well because they're so busy focused on being so good at this thing at work or this thing, being the best mom, the best senior director, the best whatever, right? And so they're taking all the calls. They're working 12 and 14-hour days and not having time or taking the time for their health and yet
Yep.
not being trusted to move to that next level because of their health. It's like that, catch 22, right?
Yeah.
Mhm. So yeah, so at the time I was feeling like I remember when that happened, I decided to change positions. I decided to move to a different company. I was like, I'm gone. Like I'm over this, like, whatever, right? I was like, I'm gonna go to a new company. And I remember the first thing I thought was, no one else is gonna hire me because of the way I look.
Mm.
That was my thought. And it was the first thing that came up. And I was like, whoa, why do I think this? And the thing is, it wasn't like I was sitting in shame about it. It was like, this is just a fact. You know, when you're this overweight, people don't want to hire you. Like we just talked about, it's the distrust. So I didn't take it as an emotional thing. I took it as a this is how things are situation, which is so wild because it was almost like I removed myself from that, from the emotion of it and really just here are the facts. If you're fat, right? That's how I thought of it. If I'm fat, I'm not going to be able to get a new position. To me, that's the wildest thing in the world to create
Can I
that as a
ask you a
fact.
really, really hard question?
Mhm.
Did you deep down inside believe that to be true for yourself? Like, would you have hired you?
because of what I knew that I could do, I would have. And that's the thing. It's like I looked at people because I saw me and how and my size and stuff. I had to look at people for other things. I couldn't look at someone and say,
Yeah. And the
you
reason I
know,
ask is because so often the things for myself, the things that other people are thinking or say really only impact me in those ways when deep down inside, those are the truths that I secretly, in my
I see what you're
deepest,
saying.
darkest crevices,
Mhm.
may believe to be true about myself in those like dark moments.
I believed it as a fact, like a general fact. You know,
Cool.
so there might be the bit that, you know, I definitely believed it for me because I thought that I couldn't get another job because it's a fact in the world in my mind. It's almost like the sky's blue. If you're overweight, you can't get a new job. You know, like
I'm
so
laughing because that's so
fact.
oversimplified and so accurate at the
Right.
same time that it's funny because it's uncomfortable.
Right. It's so true. But that's what I thought. Like it's so funny. I remember I said it to a friend of mine too. I was like, well, you know, I'm not going to be able to get a new position because of my weight. And she was like, why do you think that? That's not a thing. And I was like, well, you're thin, you don't know, right? Like that's what
It is true because in my smaller body, the
yeah.
world treats me differently.
Oh, it does. Yeah. And that's where where my mind was with that. I knew like in my bigger body, the world definitely treated me differently than it did in my smaller body. So it was like I created that too. But also we both know that when we create these things, we live into it, right?
Yep, we create the evidence to make it more factual.
Exactly. So the coolest thing was when she said that, something about it, though I said, though you're skinny, she was like, no, think about it. And she started naming people who had gotten new roles being overweight. And I
I
was
love
like,
that she flipped the script on you. Like, all right, you
100%.
want to believe that? Let's go find some things.
Right.
So Oprah wasn't successful
Oprah,
all
she
those
definitely named
years.
Oprah, right? Because Oprah's whole success came when she was overweight. You know, so she started naming all these people and she named people that we knew as well. So people
Does that
like
make us old that we just referenced Oprah? Do kids? I don't think kids nowadays they don't know the Oprah effect.
they don't know her like that. They don't. No,
They'd be
we
like
are
Oprah
definitely,
who?
yeah.
Gail King
I bet if
who?
you ask my kids, my 16-year-old might know. Confident my 9-year-old doesn't, and my 11-year-old definitely doesn't know. My 13-year-old, he knows though. My 13-year-old, he knows everything. So,
Of course he does. I did too when I was 13.
right. But he like researches like facts, like, oh. And we'll be like, well, who is, you know, Eleanor Roosevelt? And he'll be like, well, she was married to blah, blah. I'm like, how do you even know that?
Get it?
He just keeps these facts in his head. It's
Ready
wild.
for trivia night, mom?
Right.
Love that. Sorry, I digress.
It's so funny. But yeah, it's like these are the things that we've created. So once she said that, I actually went out and I did get a new position, you know, exactly the one I wanted for the exact amount of money I wanted, like everything. It all kind of came into place because I shifted here, you
Mm.
know. And I will also say I also started my journey at that point. So I was down 25 pounds. So I was probably feeling a little better too, feeling like, oh, well, you know, now I have this. But I also have to show up extra fancy so they'll see me different.
Mhm.
You know, so I bought this Chanel, was it Chanel? Michael Kors purse. This Michael Kors purse that I could wear like this. I've never worn a purse on my wrist like on my
Like you're
right.
Michelle
You know,
Obama, like
yeah,
ready, like
you know that,
you're the first lady.
right. You know how people put the little strap right here and just walk like they have a
Did
dog
you,
or whatever.
and you I was gonna say, did you have a tiny dog too?
I know, never done that in my life until then. So I had my purse,
Did it make
had
you
my
feel
laptop in it.
powerful?
Right.
Did you feel sassy? Were you
I
like in it?
did. I was so in it. And I felt like I had a full face of makeup. I don't even really wear makeup, but I had to show up. I in my mind, I had to show up fully like that to cover up the fact that I was overweight. Because then they saw that I took care of myself if I showed up completely, you know, and that's what I created.
Hide who you were, not to show who you were.
Exactly. Yep.
Oh, that
Yep.
makes my heart sad.
Yeah. So that's where it was. And so what happened was I actually had to step into accepting me as me. Like, I yes, I am overweight and I have this and I have that, but I'm okay. Like I love me and I have these amazing kids and this incredible husband and I have the life that I want to live. Um, so it really wasn't those things that had me wanting to shift and lose weight. It was actually like the stuff with my kids. Like there was a day I was at Target and I had all four kids with me, and they were little. And so I had the cart, and Target was like the best place to go for this because you could put like one in the front front of the cart and two in the back of the cart and then one walking or something like that. This time we just had one in the front, one in the back, and two of them were walking. And so one of the walkers, one of the
They're
walkers,
zombies.
right,
Like,
right, it's so ridiculous. One of the walkers, and he was like 3 years old, and I think maybe he might have been 4 or 5, but he was younger, and I remember he like ran off. Actually, the now 13-year-old, he ran off, and I was like trying to like catch him, and I couldn't catch him. And someone random like came from behind me and like ran past me to go catch him because my son was running out the door. I don't know if he forgot something at the car. I don't know why he decided that was where he should go. The guy came and got him. Actually, I think it was a guy. Like it was so weird that I don't even know if this was a man or a woman who came. That's how crazy that was. And so they came and got him and brought him back to me. And it was like I was like in a daze. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like two things came up for me. And this is where I felt stuck in my body. I'm like, if if that person, if that person hadn't gotten him, he could have run out into the street. And how at Target, the street is right next to it.
literally there.
Yeah. So it's like people can just be flying by and they wouldn't see a little kid, because they're expecting a little kid to be with an adult. So there's that. And the second thing is, what if that person was like a complete crazy person and like grabbed my kid and kept going? I'm like, all I could do is scream if that happened because if I couldn't catch my kid, I definitely couldn't catch an adult, right? who was running. So that in that moment, I felt completely stuck. And I felt like I cannot stay like this. I had to heal overall. Like I had arthritis in both knees, plantar fasciitis in both feet, back pain. I was like, I can't do this. I got to be able to run. I got to be able to move. I got to be mobile. And I wasn't like immobile completely, but I couldn't run.
Yeah. I kind of love that you just shared that because so like I do like my profession is helping people heal their relationship with food and exercise.
Hmm.
And so that they can live whatever life it is that
Yeah.
they imagine living. And so often people think they're so attached to like this, they're either detached from the number on the scale and they're like,
Mhm.
we only live once, we're all dying anyway, I'm good, like
Yeah.
whatever, F it.
Yeah.
Or they're so attached to this number on the scale in their pant size that like that's all they think about. But when you
Mhm.
boil it back,
Yeah.
no one actually cares how much they weigh. It's can I live the life that there's a life I feel like I'm missing out on
Yeah.
in the body that I have right now. And so like I've got to take care of me differently so that I can go live that life. And for you
Mhm.
it was just something as basic and and
Yeah.
for lack of better words simple
As
as
running
just
and
like
catching
I
it.
want to be able to save my kid when they run off into the street.
Right.
That is
Exactly.
that is legit.
Wild.
That is like
Uh-huh.
legit like uh the difference between that's like borderline like the survival instinct kicking in of like
Mhm.
this body ain't gonna make it and
Right.
versus like the like thriving of like my kids deserve a mom who can catch up to them and save them if they need it.
Exactly. Or could run down and watch them in their soccer game or whatever, run down the hill and stuff like that, like without being so tired, right?
Yes.
Like being able to actually do stuff and move. It's huge. It's
Yes.
so important. I think people don't realize it. Um, and it's funny, what came to me when you total topic switch.
I love it. I got an ADHD mind.
Yeah,
I'm
I
here
know.
for it.
Me too. So it came to me when you talked about someone who had built this like body positivity thing and then they have a shift was Lizzo.
Mm.
Lizzo, I remember when Lizzo first came out and she was talking about body positivity and like really big into it. I remember saying to my husband, I was like, man, I feel so bad for her. And he was like, why? Because do you think she's lying about being positive about her body? And I was like, no, it's not that. I said, what I feel bad about is that she's hyped up this being overweight is okay, right? Which it totally is. But and she's got an audience that thrives with that. But the moment she decides to lose weight, or that she needs to, for either for health or because she just wants to, whatever her reasoning is, people are going to get on her. Social media is going to be like, kicking her down, trying to beat her down and stuff. And I remember when she started to like do some videos with like Sean T and things like that, people were started getting on her. And I was like, see, this is, and it's like people, it's so weird because that's another version of being stuck in your body, right?
Yes.
She's stuck. She would have to be stuck there because people
You're
don't
not
want her.
allowed to be healthy.
Right.
You're not, it is almost like you can't be a part of, like, if you're part of the body positive, I'm trying to figure out how I want to say this.
Mhm.
You're a part of the body
Can't
positivity
change it.
conversation
Mhm.
as a larger body. You are then
Yeah.
shamed for taking care of your health in a
Mhm.
new way as you heal through the different layers of your own crap. And now
Exactly.
you're shamed because now you're part of the problem. And it's like, but where do I belong? And so that's something that I felt stuck in for a while because so like
Mhm.
before I transitioned and started a company for myself focused on just the healing aspect, like healing that relationship with food and
Mhm.
exercise. You talk Shanti, like I was a beach body coach. I did
Mhm.
that as part of my own accountability. And there were times where like I was saying the toxic crap that people had said to me when I was struggling. Like they
Mhm.
must not want it bad enough. Like, why are my clients gaining the weight back after a
Right.
challenge? This, that, and the other. They must not want it, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
Not because I actually believe that to be true, but I think that's because those were the words that were given to me
Yeah.
when I was struggling and things weren't working.
Mhm.
And then when I went through my healing, because it turned
Yeah.
out I had orthorexia, I went from a binge eater to orthorexia, which is an unhealthy relationship with being healthy.
Yeah.
And so like I was super fit for myself and
Mhm.
but I couldn't sustain it. Like I
Yeah.
couldn't sustain it. I was obsessed with food.
Yeah.
I was terrified of eating. I was
Mhm.
terrified of missing a workout, which isn't healthy either.
Yeah.
And when I found my middle, like I'm a size 12, like I'm a little chubbier than I was. And so it was
Mhm.
like this really weird space of
Yeah.
like, who are you to give people health and nutrition advice?
Right.
It's like, but
Exactly.
I've never been healthier in my entire life. I'm actually a whole person. I have harmony
Yeah.
between my health, my relationships, and my career, and I've never felt more whole and like
Mhm.
a person before. Like this feels really healthy to me.
Exactly.
And the world wanted me, they're like, but you, because I didn't look the part. Well, of course not,
Right.
because
You don't,
my job
well,
isn't to
should
be
you look like
photo shoot.
Jillian Michaels or somebody like that if you're going to be if
Yeah,
you're going to be giving out advice? No.
because
It's so funny. Okay.
because my job wasn't to be photo shoot ready for a cover magazine. And when you've been in the industry and you see behind the scenes, you learn that those pictures,
Yeah.
it's not like it wasn't real because it was real for them, but most of those people don't live their
The
life
shred.
looking like that. It's
Yeah.
for a job. It's for
Right.
the gig.
Exactly. Exactly.
And
It's a shred. It like they
yeah,
do a shred in order to get there. So I spent after I left corporate, I spent about 7 years as like a doing like weight loss and health coaching and wellness coaching as a personal trainer, all that stuff, right? And the funniest thing is that most of my clients, most of the people that work with me, I would ask them, why did you come to me? Like, because I would think, because I was never like my arms were more cut, but it wasn't like I wasn't like Angela Bassett arms 100%, and I had some abs, but I also had really thick thighs, right? So it was like I wasn't like, again, Jillian Michaels or like Massey Arias, who she's my absolute favorite. If you don't know, you got to look
I
her up.
don't. I'm gonna have to go Google her.
But I'm like, I was more of like regular, but you could see that I worked out and stuff like that. So I would ask, why did you come to me? And they would say, it's because it seemed achievable. Like
Hmm.
they would literally say, like, you look great. And I know you work out. I know you work out most days and do these things, but you don't look like you are trying to kill yourself to, to have that body, right? You look like you're living a healthy lifestyle. You look healthy. You don't look deprived, if that makes sense. And so a lot of people would see that overly cut as they got to be depriving themselves, some almost like they're stuck in their bodies too.
Yeah. It's interesting. The thing that was coming up for me while you were talking is that people think when I have this conversation that I'm
Yeah.
anti-fit, anti-skinny, And it's like, no, because each of us have our own osmosis of where we can sit without it turning unhealthy one way or the other.
Exactly.
Because some people can be a little bit more, I don't like this phrase, but I don't have a better one in this moment, dialed in. They can be a little bit more dialed in and still be fully in control, fully active. For me to achieve a smaller body takes a mental space that very quickly landslides me into unhealthy eating
Hmm.
behaviors, into
Yeah.
my all or nothing. Whereas right now, I've run over 250 miles through Disney World alone, not
Okay.
including training, not including other races. Like this body does everything that I need it to do. So
Exactly.
like this is my healthy, easily maintained body. For
Mhm.
someone else, it maybe they maintain a body that's 20 pounds lighter than mine,
Mhm.
or maybe their happy, healthy body is 30 pounds heavier than
Yep.
mine. Like that's not the part to judge. It's, do you
Exactly.
have a healthy relationship with food? Can your body, do you
And
have
it's
clarity? Do
exercise.
you have energy? Are you just a raging bitch all the time because you're either hungry or eating foods that are messing with you?
Right.
Like, can you do
Exactly.
the things you need to do to live the life that you want to live?
Mhm.
And like that's the end of that, like that's the end of the story. Like that's, can you? If
100%.
not, there's things we need to work on.
Hmm. Exactly. I absolutely agree because that's the thing. That was my biggest thing when I was a weight loss coach and personal trainer. I would always, because they would be expecting me to say, okay, baked chicken, right? The baked or grilled chicken with the brown rice and the broccoli. Remember, I don't know if you were a chubby kid,
Yep,
but
been there.
I
Green
was,
beans,
and that was
brown
what
rice,
I
and
was.
chicken. No
Exactly.
sauce, no
Exactly.
seasoning,
No
no
salt, no
anything.
oil, no
Why
butter,
did
no
I
nothing.
think that adding dressing or cheese to my vegetables completely null and voided the nutrition of the vegetable?
That part. Yes. Yep.
Why did
And
I think that? Like all of a sudden,
exactly.
naturally, the broccoli doesn't have any nutritional value because I added
Zero. Zero.
some vinegar to it or some
Right.
cheese. Like what
Exactly.
the heck is like that?
And that's what we were being told. And so that's what we believe. And what's so funny is that was why, like for me, and I'm like a wellness enthusiast now. Like I have a YouTube channel and I talk about like, what I'm doing and I show meals and stuff like that. And I'll be like, hey, I can give you some tips, sure. Like, but that's kind of but I'm like, I'm not trying to have a program anymore, right? I just want to like share the stuff because I think it's fun. And so one of the things that I always talk about, and I love that you're doing this because it's super aligned, is how to live a healthy lifestyle without giving up the lifestyle that you love. It's like you can lose weight if that's what you want, or be more toned and still eat good quality foods, right? Of course, you're not going to be at McDonald's every day. That food's going to break your body down anyway. Like that's
Yeah,
how I feel. Like it's going
people
to
are
break it down anyway because the
so
crap that's in it. Right.
it's so fascinating to me. So I'm really big into intuitive eating and teaching people how
Mhm.
to actually listen to their
Yeah.
bodies because our bodies are
Mhm.
really smart.
Exactly.
Um, and it's like, no, and that led me here. That led me to this unhealthy body that prevents me from like where I have brain fog and I'm not keeping up at work and I'm not able to do all the things at the highest level I know I'm capable of. So like, no, that's not going to work for me. And it's like, actually, when you learn to listen and you have complete freedom in that permission slip, and you start paying attention to how different things make your
Mhm.
body feel,
Yeah,
all of a sudden you don't want all that shit you fought so hard to keep.
exactly.
And you
And then it's like,
realize,
who told you
yeah,
you were listening before? Because you weren't. That's
you
that's what
weren't.
took you
The
there.
world
You don't
has
know
never
how. You
taught
didn't
you to
know how.
listen.
I often give a story that we were taught not to listen to our bodies from
Yes.
birth. It's like
Yes.
when you're born, you know how to listen to your body. You cried and because you were hungry, right? You told your mom, you're doing the face, right? You're saying, I need some of this, right? I need something to drink. I'm hungry, right? And then what happened was the doctor told your mom, feed the baby every 2 hours. Every 2 hours. So now on clockwork, oh, it's 3:28, baby's got to be fed. Up 5:28, baby's got to be fed, right? The baby might not have been hungry. Or what if the baby was actually hungry at 3:02 and you waited till 3:28? Now you're telling that you're teaching that child not to listen to their body and their own hunger cues, their own body needs, right?
You're the first person I have heard. So I say this a lot, and you're the first human I have heard unprompted say it back to me. And this is so cool
I love
for me,
it.
actually, because I'm like, no, like from the time you're little, I've never actually thought about it from time of nursing. I've
Hmm.
always thought about like from school age, it's like
Yeah.
you're not
You
hungry,
ate 12
dinner's not
o'clock.
ready. You're not
Yep.
hungry, we just ate. You're
Hmm.
not thirsty, we're not stopping for the bathroom. So
Yes.
like all of these
Everything.
times your
Yeah.
body you're getting the signals that your body's signals are wrong and that you're
Uh-huh.
wrong. And then we wonder
Yep.
why we grow up and we don't trust our own instincts
Exactly.
because it's like no, you're just being dramatic. I'm just being too sensitive. Just push through. When in fact, all of those signals and
Mhm.
feelings are your body telling you
Yep.
something isn't right. Either you're missing a
Exactly.
skill, this person is the devil, like
Yep.
like something here needs to change
Exactly.
for awareness, but yet we push through it because like how can you trust yourself if you
Mhm.
can't even trust yourself with food?
Exactly. It's so wild. It links to everything. Like
Everything.
if you ask someone, so one of my favorite questions was, what time is lunch?
Whenever I'm
It's like
hungry.
12. But no, people normally say 12, right? They're like, oh, lunchtime is 12 o'clock. Well, why?
For who? Because I eat at
Right?
10:30.
Right. It's like they don't know why. Lunchtime is whatever o'clock, like 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock, whatever, because you were told that that's what lunchtime is. It's not when your body told you, it's because
I
somebody
coach
told
high
you.
school field hockey. I coach high school field hockey in the fall. Some of my students don't get, they go to school at like 7:30 in the morning. They don't get lunch until 1 o'clock.
Yes, 1 o'clock. So that's their lunchtime.
And then they're not allowed to eat during class. And I'm like, what the crap? I'm like,
Exactly. They're starving. And it's at the biggest growth time. It's at the time when they actually need more calories and more food because their body is growing. You know?
especially the ones that are athletic too, like they're about to use a lot of energy when they get out to the
Exactly.
practice field. Like,
Exactly. It's ridiculous. I feel like it stunts growth, honestly. I was telling my husband that just recently. I was like, do you want to be short? You're stunting his growth. I'm
I
like,
feel like we need to collab on something. I don't know what it is, but I feel like you and I have such synergy in the way we see the world that there's something here, some magic that you and I are supposed to do beyond the podcast. So we'll have to talk about that.
we'll definitely have to
So
talk
like
about it.
we started this off talking about like that fear of outgrowing your current situation, the fear of maybe being held back because the body that you're in is trapping you. And I know that we went a lot of places. Like our besties like land this plane for me, right? Like they're listening and she's like, "Where do we go?" All of those different places that we just went all boil down to like if you are having those feelings and you know there's more for you, like what are those tiny little changes that you can make right now
Mhm.
to help you grow to your next level instead of getting upset that someone doesn't want to hire you for the next level, they don't think you're
Mhm.
capable.
Right.
Well, is there room for you to be more capable? That's for you
Yep.
to decide. I know for me, and we didn't really talk about this. I haven't shared this with you, but when I lost 65 pounds and I earned a $20,000 promotion. And when I talked about that online, people
Mhm.
were like, "Oh my God, that person should have been fired." They were afraid of fat people. And it was like, no, actually, the person I became getting healthy was the person capable of
Mhm.
filling the shoes of the new role.
Yep.
Like I
Exactly.
had better clarity. I was more succinct in my sentences. I had better ideas that I was bringing to the table. I felt confident in myself. I had a little sass in my step that I didn't have before.
Right.
I
Hmm.
was performing at a higher level because I was active,
Hmm.
because I was giving my body nutrients. And so,
Yep.
like, it has nothing to do with the weight as much as it was I was starting to take care of myself differently. And
Hmm.
that showed up in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. It's so funny. I love that you said that because I think both are true. I think it's a combination because as you start shifting, right, you start changing the way that you see
Yeah.
the world changes, all those things that you mentioned, and then people start seeing you differently as
Yeah.
well. They start like we both talked about how when I lost the weight, I literally remember the day it happened, the day, like the first time this happened to me. I went into the gym one day and I hadn't been at the gym in a while. I think I was doing most of my workouts like outside in different places. And so I walked into the gym and they had a personal trainer assigned to me, like you get a free session or whatever. So I got in this free session. And the way this guy was talking to me, I hadn't been spoken to in this way before, especially not by a personal trainer. And I thought, he's speaking to me like I'm in shape. And I mean, I was at that point, but I hadn't really processed it 100%. And I was like, I've never been in a situation where someone's looking at me like I'm skinny, like I'm not overweight. And I was like, whoa, this is wild. Is this what people with regular, in my mind, regular people go through with how they are perceived? And so it is like, I think it's a mix of both. It's like you step up, right? And people start stepping
Yeah.
up to see
Yeah.
you differently.
Yeah.
Because that guy had never seen me overweight. He didn't know me.
And
I
it
didn't know
has
him.
nothing, right. And I want to make sure that, like, because I can hear like my hurt self. If I was
Mhm.
sitting in my hurt right now,
Yeah.
I might be thinking like there's some fat shaming happening right now.
Mm.
They're just adding to the conversation. I thought
Oh
they were going
gosh.
to tell me it was okay. It's okay to be you. And this is no fat shame zone.
Right.
What we're saying is that from both of our experiences is that like when you know that you haven't been taking care of yourself because you've been taking care of everyone else.
Yeah.
And we want to hold that against other people because what we're doing right now is really awesome.
Hmm.
But like the range of our awesomeness is so much bigger
Yeah.
if we were to start taking care of ourselves. And so it's okay to be exactly where you are,
Mhm.
and it's okay to want to do it differently. And that doesn't minimize or negate all of the things you stood for yesterday.
Exactly.
Because that for me is a really hard place to be. Like, as you're evolving into a new person and as you want something new, there's gonna be some people in the world are gonna be like, you are a hypocrite because yesterday you said X, Y, and Z.
Hmm.
And what I said yesterday can be true for me yesterday.
Right.
And I get to grow and evolve too.
Hmm.
And so, like, I want to give you permission as you're listening with us right now. Like, if your world right now is not working for you, you have permission to grow into the next version of yourself without the guilt and the shame of the rest of the world who wants to keep you pigeonholed and tell you who you are.
Exactly. And that's a big thing. It's like something I always say is you get to love yourself, who you are and where you are. And just because and you can love yourself and still know that you want to change.
Mhm.
Like it's okay, right? It's like just because I love myself doesn't mean that I think I'm perfect or that I am perfect. You know, there are things, and the thing is, we tend to think that, oh, I love myself. Um, and it's okay if I go and get a new degree, an additional degree, or get another certification. Isn't that change? Isn't that growth? But it's not okay if I say that I love myself and yet I want to improve my health by, maybe adding in some exercise or walks, because no one is saying that you can't be, like, just like you said earlier, you don't have to be Jillian Michaels or whomever is like extremely lean and fit to be healthy. Even when I was 300 pounds, I had my blood pressure was actually great. My cholesterol, my heart was great. Like all the normal markers, the doctors would be shocked every time I'd walk out of there. Like they'd be like, "Well, we'd like for you to lose some weight, but your health is really good." I'm like, "Okay," And it's like they wanted to say that I wouldn't be able to have kids because of my weight. Well, there's nothing in my labs that show that I shouldn't be able to have kids having to do with my weight. I got endometriosis. That would be the reason,
Right.
but right, but not the weight. But they like to put things on weight. So yes, you can be healthy and be overweight, and you also get to decide what body you want to live in at your best health. If that is being having an extra 50 pounds on you, and you like that, go for it. I know people who've gotten down to like 130, for which was, I guess, according to BMI, okay for their height, and then thought, that's not where I want to be 150.
Yeah.
I feel better at this size.
That's
Go
where I
for it.
maintain.
Your
This is
health.
what's easy for me. This is where I feel my
Exactly.
best, where I'm not tired.
Exactly. I feel good. I feel strong. I have energy. I feel like me. Then
I'm
that's
not
where you want
sweated
to
and
go.
exhausted by the time I walk from my car to my desk before my work day starts. Because
Right.
that was me.
Hmm. Yeah,
I
when you
was
were,
exhausted before I got the day started. From my car to my desk, I had to hike. It was almost like half a mile walk into work, and then I had 4 flights of stairs. And by the time I got upstairs, like
Mhm.
I was exhausted and I was sweaty and I was disgruntled.
Yeah.
And to look back and think about how I couldn't see how that impacted how I showed up at work and my
Mhm.
abilities.
Right.
Like, come on, Tiff.
Exactly.
Like,
And that when before you had lost the 65 pounds or
it was
after?
before I had
So,
lost the weight. So like, no,
mhm,
they weren't wrong for saying like, I don't know that you're ready for this
mhm,
promotion, because
yeah,
like I wasn't performing at my best then.
yeah,
Like, they weren't
right.
wrong. That's a hard pill to swallow
Right.
too. Like, they weren't
It
wrong.
is. It is. It is a hard pill to swallow.
I haven't actually thought about that part, but that is a hard pill. That
Yeah.
they weren't
Oh,
wrong. But it
not
didn't
in
have
that
anything to
time.
do. It didn't directly have anything to do with my weight. It
Yeah.
had to do with all of the things that extra weight was holding me back
Affecting.
from, physically, from the mental to the
Mhm.
physical to my abilities to interact with people and to
Yeah.
keep up.
And so it made you feel stuck in
Yep.
that situation. Yep. And it's funny because I've been on both ends where I felt stuck in my overweight body, and then I felt stuck in my, once I got to my leanness, right? I was feeling so what's the word I'm looking for? It was almost like confined,
Mm.
because it was like I have to keep this up, right? People have already seen me show my pictures, and I'm coaching people, and I'm doing all this stuff, and I'm a personal
Like you're in the
trainer.
fishbowl from the other angle.
Exactly. I've got to keep this up. And it's like there was no freedom in it. And talk about angry, right? Like I was in, like, I had it, like, I was like, there was a lot of tension. I would like go from 0 to 60 in a heartbeat, because I think I was just, I didn't feel good. I don't like being trapped and confined. So that's how I was feeling. And I was angry a lot. And it was like once I released the pressure of it, it was like that freedom, right? When I'm eating for me and for my health and intuitively, there's that freedom of I get to live again. I
Oh,
get to get out of this
I
box.
get to live again. That is so
Mhm.
good. That's I think that's where we're wrapping up
That's
today,
right.
because that is it. Like, that's it. And so like,
Mhm.
I really encourage you, like, as you're listening, wherever your brain went during this conversation, it was exactly where it needed to go. Maybe you go back and you re-listen or rewatch us on YouTube again, and you're going to hear a different conversation. And I encourage you actually to do that. And then I really encourage you, what is healthy for you? And are you meeting your own expectations and your own definition of healthy for the life you want to live? If not, what's one simple change that you could make today to take you one step closer to your best self? With that, I love you. Thank you so much for being here. And I will see you guys next time. That's Two Humans
All
Talking.
right.
Bye.